In this video, I'll be showing you a behind-the-scenes look at how I went about planning and coordinating a short film in a place I had never been before. I'll be covering everything you need to know, from my initial planning stage to my editing workflow, my color grading process, and sound design. I'll be telling you where I find inspiration and the exact equipment I use. My hope is that anyone watching can learn from my experience and think beyond what's creatively possible. To gain a greater perspective on filmmaking and the power of telling a story. Time spent waiting, watching, searching. This is the story of my life choices that somehow brought me to direct a short film in Egypt. This is the story about a kid with a GoPro that followed his dream to create films around the world. And in order to fully explain my creative process, I first need to take you back to where it started. It was these very paintings that hung in my childhood home that first inspired me to create art. My great-grandfather's paintings filled every wall, making each space a vibrant mix of nature and reality. He was the one that exposed me to the idea of taking the ordinary and putting a twist on it. And just as the pyramids aren't blue, zebras aren't colorful. They're black and white. It's this juxtaposition of ideas that helped me to create my recent Egypt film. It's helped me to understand my creative origins on a much deeper level. So it's safe to say that you, Grandpa Keith, were my first ever inspiration. I started following anything that creatively inspired me. It was taking piano lessons so I could play the Coldplay song that I had heard in a movie once. It was filming meaningless videos on my GoPro to be like the YouTubers I watched just because it was interesting me. I was wholeheartedly inspired.
I am so impressed.
As I've grown, I've come to realize the raw power behind inspiration. It's the rocket fuel that powers creation. It's in music, people, places, films, and books that all play their role in inspiring me. And it's the ability to actively search in these places that I've found inspiration. Cosmos is a website that compiles creative shot ideas that I use to plan my trip to Egypt. It's filled with the most intricate ideas from talented creators that have inspired many of the frames that I've created. ShotDeck is another excellent tool to browse scenes from movies and mimic the ideas of world-renowned directors. It's a great website to dive deeper into the world of cinema and learn everything there is to know, including the shot type, composition, lens and camera choice, and even to find similar shots. Movies are another great source of inspiration for me. Connecting the ideas of renowned directors and cinematographers to my own experiences has been an influential tool in my workflow. For example, the movie World War Z was an inspiration in my recent Egypt film that originally encapsulated the entire idea behind creating this film. The music and style of cinematography by Mark Foster in the opening credits is a scene that stuck with me for years, and although that iteration of this film never actually came to fruition, it played a crucial role in allowing this film to come out the way it did. This movie fully inspired my film, including my compositions, choice of music, and my sound design process. The goal in sound designing is not to make you hear a moment, but to make you feel it. Even in moments where background ambience might be present, it doesn't mean that you should include it. Silence sometimes is the best sound to add emphasis to a moment. Staying organized is another crucial aspect to sound design. When it's easy to get lost in your own project and you have up to 20 tracks, organization is key to maintaining an efficient workflow. I'll usually divide my sounds to give each type of sound effect its own track and its own color, so I can automatically know what it is when I see it. I like to start sound designing a project with a simple ambience first to set the mood of the clip if the original audio doesn't cut it. After adding this base layer, I like to dedicate a few tracks to whooshes and transition movements for switches and scenery or any on-screen motion. I'll add risers to add tension to the end of a scene and often couple that with a whoosh for a more seamless flow. I'll then go ahead and add impacts, clicks, stutters, ripples, reverbs, and much more to make you feel truly immersed in the moment. Using the equalizer is how you can really start to sell your sound effects. It's a fantastic tool to add depth and character to your shots and make the audience really feel like they're in the moment with you. The color grading process is where the magic in a video really starts to come alive. Now, color grading can be a very difficult process, but the easiest way to achieve the best grade is to plan your shooting conditions where the lighting is in its prime. This will make the grading process much easier for you so you can achieve a nice natural look. I first like to convert my footage to the DaVinci wide gamut color space to maximize my color grading capabilities. From there, I'll get into the color correction process, adjusting the exposure and the HDR wheels, the white balance, and the contrast. After correcting my footage, I'll begin the look development where the mood of the video really starts to come into play. I like to reference the vector scope to monitor the colors in the shadows, the midtones, and the highlights, and to set the mood of my footage from there. Additionally, I like to add film grain to the shadows and the midtones, and finish it off with a bit of glow and sharpening in the highlights. Lightbox in DaVinci is also an excellent tool to compare your graded footage against each other. I usually take one graded clip that I like and set it as the mood for the rest of the video. Getting a consistent grade across your footage doesn't just happen. It's built on experience, technique, and of course having the right equipment. For my Egypt film, the majority of these scenes were shot on the Sony a7S III coupled with the 24-70 G Master. This is a fantastic setup for run and gun situations where I can achieve a variety of different shots using only one lens. And having the flexibility of 10-bit grading capabilities was absolutely crucial for me to achieve the look that I was going for. For more planned productions, prime lenses are always a better option, but that's if you know the shots that you want to get ahead of time. For example, I would use the 24mm G Master for more planned shots, but for my favorite lens that I have is Sony's 200-600mm, which is a fantastic lens to get those super tight, detailed shots. For ND filters, I almost always use Polar Pro. They truly are the best in the business, as their filters combine a ND filter, a polarizer, and if you want, you can also add that mist effect to it for a more dreamy look. For the aerial shots, I use the DJI Mavic 3 as well as the Mini 4 Pro, which, as many of you know, is not a very easy thing to do in Egypt, as drones are not allowed there. So I want to give a huge shout out to Adra for piloting the drones on this project, and to Daniel for coordinating to make this all possible. And the majority of these clips were shot in 60 frames per second unless I knew for sure that I wasn't going to want to slow it down. Then I would shoot in 24 frames. And if I really had the time, then I would shoot in a variety of different frame rates at 24, 60, and 120, just to have as much flexibility in post as possible. When planning out my shots, I noticed that many of the locations we were shooting at in Egypt had a very similar symmetrical component to them, so naturally, I used this to my advantage and tried to maintain this same theme throughout the video to help establish my storyline. A film isn't a film without a story, and you don't have a story without emotion and intention. To help develop my initial storyline, I was constantly taking notes while in Egypt, writing down any words that I could associate with what I saw. And it didn't matter where. In the back of a tuk-tuk or riding horseback, a kilometer above the pyramids. When the idea struck, I was writing them down, and the story truly started to write itself from there. I used this list of words as the baseline for my script, which made the entire process afterwards much easier for me. Filmmaking isn't about resisting the unexpected. It's about embracing it and utilizing it. These were the moments that I started to doubt the direction of my film entirely. But the only reason that it worked was because of one thing. Every now and then, filmmaking stops being about the hustle and checking off the shot list, and it takes on something else entirely. When you're locked into the flow of a project, something clicks. It's like everyone that you're working with starts operating on the same wavelength. Something about creating alongside other talented filmmakers in a place that I had never been before became the most fulfilling part of this entire project for me. The real magic of this wasn't just in what we filmed, it was the way that this left a mark on each of us, both individually and collectively. This project was a really good reminder to me that filmmaking is a lot less about control, and it's more about staying open-minded to the moment and to the experience and to the people that you meet. For example, when we were invited by our tuk-tuk driver Ahmed to go with him to his home and have a meal with him and his family, that's something that we probably wouldn't have done if we weren't open-minded to this entire experience.
The setup in here.
So if there's one thing that I would take away from this experience is that you should never wait for permission. Your journey will never look like anyone else's, and that's the point. I hope this video gave you something to take with you and maybe even make something of your own. Thank you guys so much for sticking around till the end of the video. I really hope that you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.